Hello there. Hopefully I can go through this and it won't take too long. And avoid this laptop crashing. Let's see if anyone even joins. Anyway. I want to take a look at this motion thing again. Let's take a look at this. Hope people can see it all right. Yeah, it'd be good to hear, hi Amanda, it'd be good to hear some of your terminology and words and ways that you would describe it. Because I plan on going through it with Dell. But yeah, I want to go into the spring, really. Hi Realm Walker. Hello Claire. Okay, let's just start this off. I got a few things to. By the way, I hope everyone can hear us. I got a few things regarding this recent upload.
Topic, here we are. Topic of the accelerometers prove.
I hope we got the beginning of this.
It's amazing what these leaders think, isn't it? Yeah, too long. Yeah, so okay. That's it. We can get rid of that. Good lord. Yeah. So that's. Oh no. Here we go.
Hi Simon.
Let's go to we're main topic. Thumbnail. Oh, we can get that up. So main topic. Here we are.
Okay. I find that interesting for a start. The main topic and the thumbnail. Yeah. Out of this 1 hour and 14, nearly 15-minute video, this consists of about 15 minutes of content. Or less, I'd say. So I kind of find that odd that the thumbnail's all about this. It's said to be the main content, yet it's very little of the content in this video. Anyway.
Topic of the accelerometers prove what exactly? And that's a good question to ask. Oh, before we.
Well, what do they show mechanically? That different matter will displace at different rates. When put into motion. It basically works on those principles. Relies on it, really. Hi, Eyes Wide. I was just watching some of your videos with the wrestling around with that engine. Good times.
Have you got the? I got that. I just want to double check. Have you got that up on? Is that up on? Yeah, it's there. I just wanted to check. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, before I go on to this, I've really got to show something. Before people got all distracted with because the constant referrals to water bottles of water. I'd like to take this back to where Dell originally showed with a simple spring. And from where I'm sitting, that's all you pretty much need. So matter, I keep hearing this, inanimate matter cannot move of its own volition. It has no will or intent of its own. we're hearing that matter moves towards other matter purely because of its matter, or mass moves to mass because of its mass. I seem to have heard similar things like that coming out of the mouths of ball-believing, religious zealots. Actually, it wasn't similar, it was exactly that. That mass moves towards mass purely because of its mass. I've also heard them saying things like all these substances accelerate downwards towards the earth at the same rate. And I could clip and quote exactly that stuff from this channel and many others. So as for matter, I've got to do this quick because my laptop's probably going to die. Okay. Let's see if we can see this. Can we see this slinky spring here? Alright? I tension this slinky. It doesn't have a preference to have more capacity of coils here than here. Now you're going to hear similar things going on about the capacity in these digital accelerometers. This slinky, of its own will and volition, doesn't decide to accumulate more here than here when it's tensioned. And when free fall, all of these are uniform, no matter whether it's dropped horizontally or vertically, showing that it is experiencing a constant motion. And because of inertia and that effect that it has on matter, and motion and the effect that it has on matter, mass, both these things being external of matter, I think makes a lot of these religious, atheistic, cult zealots, materialists, extremely uncomfortable. That these things are beyond the material that we experience. Now this resistance to motion when matter is accelerated, decelerated, this change, and then suddenly inertia just manifests itself from out of nowhere. Suddenly inertia comes into play, as if it wasn't in play at the constant. And when you change the rate of motion, and that motion isn't constant, then the constant effect, which gives weight, these measured things of weight, buoyancy, density, they are no longer constant. They alter. You can lessen the effects of weight, buoyancy, density with motion, and you can increase them with motion. This concept, I think, that inertia only comes into play and manifests itself under acceleration or deceleration. No, the measured changes of the effects of weight, buoyancy, and density can be quantified. But you still have constants of weight, density, and buoyancy while you're at a constant. I tell you what, the sheer lack of understanding of very, very basic physics from people who go to dismiss this stuff, go to attempt to show stuff with drones without understanding inertia, not wanting to do these tests at a constant. not understanding even how a drone operates with how it senses its environment, obstacle avoidance, keeping its location via GPS, and having to actually disable all of that if you want to actually undertake any of these examples. People don't even seem to comprehend those. Anyway.
Accelerators, we can click that off, can't we?
Yeah, click on.
Yeah, accelerators prove what exactly there you go.
Yeah, accelerators prove what is. Now we have gone into conversations with Mandiv.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah, because a lot
Many
of
other people.
after our last video, a lot.
Amanda. I also find it very interesting that you seem to just have singled out Amanda among the many comments from people that have been putting forward demonstrations to this for a long time, but avoided all of that. Forget the analog examples, and you want to use this as some sort of gotcha. All it showed was your lack of comprehension.
People from Dell's camp, or the Upwardly Moving Earth camp, came onto our
It's
channel.
like the opposite of praying, is it?
Yeah.
A lot of people would do that as if you're worshipping, but they're doing this.
Yeah, they.
Can you show me one example of this so-called Dell camp going about this religious practice that you're enacting here? Or is that just another opinion? Because I'm really fucking over people's opinions when it comes to physical objective reality.
Came onto our channel and they said to us that you really do need to look into it. I beg you, beseech you,
Yeah.
look into it.
Look into the
Look into it. We're not lying. We're being honest and open. Look into it. You know, research it. You know.
And it's obvious you haven't when you keep going on about water bottles being dropped. I'd really like an example from you of how it is that bubbles of helium released into an open vessel filled with water, and that are rising out of the water up through that medium of water, which is in the medium of air, which helium is less dense than, and the container's open, yet when dropped, those helium bubbles no longer head away from the earth as they were, but start moving immediately towards the earth with the water. Could you demonstrate that? How that's possible? If you think you could drop it from higher and get a different result, if you think you could attach a 25 kilogram lead weight to the bottom of the vessel, the open vessel, and get a different result, please do.
And we got talking to some woman. I can't.
Mandiv.
Should we go? Where's the best way to look for it?
Well, you're better off just going on the comments.
On here.
Yeah.
No, this is going to be.
I gotta read some of these comments. Yeah, act like they've got the answers. All they have is their own indoctrinated religious interpretation of a visually only perceived experience. I.e., I dropped stuff and it accelerated to the ground.
A while, innit? You'll have to.
Well, people can wait, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well,
Well, what we could do, keep.
I know some woman, Amanda is the woman you're dealing with.
Looking through it's some time ago. It was
yeah,
2 weeks ago.
we can cut and come back, couldn't we?
Well, we could
on
do
this
that,
occasion.
yeah, and come back to it. Come on.
Right, well, we found the comment, and it was on our last last upload, perception, deception, and Mandivi. Why not go and discuss this with Dell, or have Dell on? Why is everyone avoiding speaking directly with the one who brought it forward? Okay.
Great point, Amanda. Absolutely.
You know, we get into this conversation.
Well, not just Mandivi,
so,
but
yeah,
also
sure.
with lots of other people. But without reading all of the comments.
No, we don't need to read all of them.
There's what I do is edit, find, and just look up accelerometer,
Oh, right, sure.
because these people think that an accelerometer proves that the Earth is moving upwards.
Absolutely does. Because all you're about to show is exactly that which we've demonstrated with a slinky. A tension spring has no will of its own to accumulate more of its coils at one end of the tensioned spring than the other, unless in the presence of force, motion. This is clearly seen when orientating a tensioned spring, horizontally, vertically. It doesn't just decide it by itself.
You need to,
Evening, Andrew.
Yeah, I know I need to.
hasn't got a semicolon. There,
No.
look.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, she puts the position that the Earth is in motion is not an idea.
Yeah.
It is a
Hold on. That Mandivi thinks that the Earth is moving upwards.
Yeah. So
We don't.
Yeah. So she's saying, well, yeah, the position that the Earth is in motion is not an idea. It is a demonstrable fact. Your lack of comprehension when it comes to how the demonstration proved this doesn't change it.
I would absolutely agree. But hey, it can just be my opinion. Hey, it doesn't matter how loud reality is screaming it.
Inanimate matter does not move without a force. No force is detected in the downward vector by digital or analog accelerometers.
Oh, okay, right.
By analog substance as well. Water, air, solids. They orientate themselves in a particular manner due to a motion vector.
Therefore, nothing is moving down. However, the object and the Earth do meet one another. So one of the two must be in motion to come together. If it's not the
Yes, good point, Amanda. They focus on the digital accelerometer and ignore the analog, which you pointed out in the comments, and I know you did. I've seen your comments. I am wondering very, very skeptically about this content. The fact that a thumbnail was used as if this was the main content, yet it's only 15 minutes of this well over an hour video. And all that was pointed out was how digital accelerometers use the displacement of different mass, different matter, and the relationship it has with each other, that they displace at different rates because of mass and inertia, the effects of motion on them. You didn't point, this was weaker than your first attempt at dipping your toe in this. A world without curve. This is Pete and Peter. Peter and Pete. Pete and Peter.
object that leads the Earth's motion.
Right, so she's saying basically that when an object is falling, like an accelerometer, it doesn't register that it...
If you're holding an object and
and your worldview of stationary, and it's sitting here, and you're holding it and going to claim that this is stationary, this matter, and then release it, you now have to come up with a mechanism to push it down. If it's at a constant motion, which can be considered at rest, you don't need that. It can now lose velocity, which can be deemed as a negative acceleration in physics.
Is forward.
Well, because there's no forces detected in the downward vector.
Yeah, so as it's falling, no forces are detected in the accelerometer.
It's uniform. That's why bubbles go spherical. If there was a biased vector of motion acting on it, it would orientate the substance in a very particular manner.
So she's saying, well, the Earth must be moving up.
Yeah, there you go.
So what we thought we'd do
Which
is
would tie in with their demonstration about having
a water.
Exactly. Digital accelerometers, analog, the measured and quantified physical substances we deal with in our reality show no physical acceleration downward. And everyone keeps skipping past that.
In a bottle.
having this water in a bottle that's sitting on a
Yeah.
table, and then if we drop it,
the water will remain on the
the
bottom
water will remain on the bottom.
and the air on the top. Sure, it will maintain that orientation.
Yeah.
Whereas if we push the bottle down,
Yeah. Pushed it.
Yeah, if you accelerated it, if you pushed it, it would displace. And it doesn't.
the water will rise up. What we thought we'd do
Which
is
would tie in table, and then if we drop it,
the water will remain on the
the
bottom.
water will remain.
Exactly, because it's already orientated by a motion vector. And that motion vector didn't change its direction. It is now just reduced in velocity, but maintaining the same orientation. Why would it displace? And as for a spring being tensioned and air bubbles rising in water, when you drop it and when they change shape and go spherical, and when a spring, all of the coils of the tension slinky that are at the so-called bottom distribute themselves out evenly, matter moved. It displaced stuff. When that air went from level and turned spherical, matter had to move. Displacement. But not showing an acceleration.
Remain on the bottom.
And the air on the top. Sure, it will
Because it's still
maintain that
going
orientation.
up.
Whereas if we push the bottle down,
Still being pushed to the bottom of that vessel.
Yeah, makes common sense. Well,
But does it though?
well. Anyway, so what we thought we'd do is we thought we'd research about
How an accelerometer works.
how does an accelerometer work, and we can go back to Circuit Grid, who introduced the video earlier.
That we showcased earlier.
I'll tell you how
The thing
an
is,
accelerometer
we'll
works.
listen to-
Well, you really need to start it again.
With this
Well,
slinky.
I forgot.
I hope
Well, I'm
people
not
can
going to
see.
go into how. I don't want to talk about how.
Okay. Well,
It'll be difficult. Maybe we can only use
Yeah, hold on now. Let's have a look at.
You're going to have
let's
these fixed
So-
fingers
so this
in
is not-
between all of these.
accelerometers that use
And they
composites.
remain fixed with this reference frame.
Similar to this. with
And when you
several
move
key
the
components.
slinky,
First,
the relationship in
mass or
between
size of
these
mass.
gaps
This is a
changes.
shaped structure with
You
some
have
fingers extended
more
from it.
capacity
This proof mass
of
is
springs
heavy
here,
at both ends,
less
and back and forth
capacity
between the
here.
diagrams. Electrodes are structures fixed in the substrate and remain stationary, unlike the proof
And it's
mass.
mimicking it.
There are acceleration forces on it. It's important to emphasize that proof mass and electrodes do not touch together.
Yes, Amanda, it's still in its orientation due to the motion vector, which is decreasing in velocity.
Close to each other, but
Didn't
not
change
like this.
direction.
Produces a capacitance. As a reminder, capacitance is based on a few factors, but for what's important here, one of those factors is the distance between the different plates. The closer the plates get without touching, the greater the capacitance.
The
If they're
greater
farther apart,
the
capacitance goes down.
capacitance.
Keeping this
Smaller
simple, let's
distance.
take a look at a circuit made up of two stations
Less
and one
capacitance.
metal plate. Together, they form what is called a differential capacitor.
This is
In this
obviously
capacitor, we
not
measure the difference in charges
stationary,
that form in the bottom capacitor, the bottom and middle plate, and the top
but at a
capacitor.
constant motion.
If we apply voltage
And due to inertia,
and
resisting that
sense
constantly,
centered,
giving a constant
of capacitance.
measure of weight.
If we move the middle plate closer to the bottom plate, the capacitance of the bottom capacitor increases while the top one decreases. This is exactly how an accelerometer works. As the accelerometer moves back and forth, the charge stored between the fingers changes. The fingers get closer on one side.
So motion, displacement, yada, yada, yada. Some people can be very clever, very intelligent, very smart at what they do, and can still be stupid. Anyway, I'm going to go into this more with some demonstrations that I put together. I've shared them with a couple of people. I would be interested in their input and in their phraseology, how they would describe it and put it in words. It would be helpful. Yeah. Anyway, I might leave it there before I go any further in this and get a little more amped than I want to with these two. So, but I will carry on with this. I find this suspect. The sheer quantity of demonstrations that I put together regarding this, the comments I left and have asked, and they chose to have this hour and 15-minute video with 15 minutes of content, which is the main aspect of it, and accelerometers work. The upward rising earthers who all prostrate and worship themselves at the camp of Dell and all this sort of bollocks. But hey, it's just your opinions, eh? Hey, Daniel. This is so difficult sometimes to actually stay with trying with people. With some. I'm not worried about these. Hey, they can go off and do their whatever. I find it useful for the aspects that they sort of point out with mass moves towards mass purely because of its mass. I find that frickin' hilarious because I've heard exactly that from some other religious nut jobs. I might. Yeah, I do find it that they would just take. Okay, I'll read this out. Their behaviour. Someone saying suspicious. Agreeing. I also think it's very dishonest and disingenuous to put this thumbnail up on this video as if they're addressing the topic and then put up 10 minutes of shite about an accelerometer using displacement and motion in order to function, because matter is subject to inertia and the effects that has, and motion and the effects that has, and then to just sort of grab one of those, this aspect of the digital accelerometer, which can be demonstrated in an analog manner and show exactly the same thing, and Amanda's comment, and it's Amanda, when people who have been at this, and not that it matters, not that anymore, a little bit longer and have the demonstrations are ignored. I have no problem with being ignored. I like being in the background. I just kind of find it weird how this is done. Not weird. I find this disingenuous and dishonest. That's my opinion, lads. And I completely agree with your opening thing. Yeah, you can still be stupid. Yes, we'll definitely have to sort that out, Amanda. I would love to do a live with you. Okay, anyway, as you can see, I got a freaking miserable day outside. Oh, woe is me. I've been subject to 3 days of overcast and rain in my winter. Oh shit, what shall I ever do? Have a good day, guys. I'm going to do some more on this. I'm going to send, actually, I'll put the link in my community page to some of these examples. It'd be great if people took a look at them, even formed their own language about it. I'd like to hear how they express it, how they describe it. It would be most helpful. So I think I'll actually just share it there, because the video is not public, but it's a collection of some demonstrations to do with a slinky. Would appreciate your feedback on it. So enjoy your day, everyone. Thanks for joining. Remember, this inertia thing, it doesn't just, when something's accelerated, because of inertia, we experience a weight increase, or, you know, like, what the fuck? It didn't just manifest out of nowhere and suddenly install itself in matter. Only when you change the rate of motion, when it's not constant. When it's constant, it's still resisting constantly. When the motion is not constant, when the change is not constant, the inertia, the effects that brings rise to of density points are not constant and therefore alter. This idea that inertia just seems to only be present under acceleration or deceleration, and it's like it's not present at any other time. This resistance to change. Inertia, that's what it is. And motion, that which brings change. Two opposing constants. Matter in the middle. Anyway, That's my 2 cents. That's my opinion, guys. And hey, I could be stupid too. Have a good day, everyone.